Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flux, concluding my Hobbit trilogy look back. We are talking about the Battle of the Five Armies, and this is a unique one in the sense that both cuts of this movie, I think, are better than the extended cut of The Desolation of Smaug. But I think this movie is the weakest one and the least spectacular of the Hobbit bunch. And with the theatrical cut, you have a lot happening with, like, you have the rushed conclusion to the Smaug saga right at the very beginning of the movie. You have about an hour's meditation on the madness of dragon sickness that has taken Thorin. And then you have the bloated final fight that takes place over the course of nearly like an hour and a half, when this encompasses like less than 5 pages of a book. A children's book that the extended cut of this film is rated R. So that's wild. It gets unhingedly violent in the extended cut, which is just baffling for this children's story. But it was like there was so little confidence in delivering an emotional conclusion and having us need to see this big epic fight, but also like a drive to top themselves in what they did for the final fights in Lord of the Rings. If you look at Helm's Deep and particularly the final battle of Return of the King, it's not the battle that makes those movies work. It's the emotional conclusion. And I think you could still do this movie kind of almost the way that Tolkien did. Maybe not knock out Bilbo at the beginning of the battle so that he wakes up afterwards, but just have him be there as an observer of the pointlessness of this battle and cut away from it that way. I'm just not sold on how it's done. The inclusion of Legolas and is it Thranduil? The Evangeline Lilly character. The death of Fili still feels pointless. You never really get to connect with him. Kili's death hits a little bit, but could have been done better. Thorin's just stretches on for effing ever. Like, all of it is performed well, then some of the action is good, but it becomes less and less spectacular the longer it persists. And it just doesn't stop. This movie is just so overlong. But I don't think it's bad. I think there's some good stuff here, especially some of the dramatic heft, even though Evangeline Lilly didn't want to play a love interest or romantic lead, and her being kind of forced into that position after the fact is really disappointing, but both she and the actor who played Kili do sell it, and you buy it. And so yeah, we say goodbye to Middle-earth, at least the Peter Jackson incarnation of it, in possibly the least spectacular way, even though this is the biggest, most bombastic conclusion to that fight. It's just kind of excessive and meaningless, and I feel like that's the biggest complaint you hurl at these films. And it's too bad, because I think there are, buried within these 3 films, 2 fantastic ones. And an exercise in editing, I would like to see him do a de-extended cut and deliver for us a 2-film version of The Hobbit, sort of as a reverse exercise to his extended editions of Lord of the Rings. I think each one of those extended editions of Lord of the Rings, and even the first extended edition of The Hobbit, offer a lot of value. But I think everything else done with this, trying to force those principles onto these 2 movies, these 2 screenplays originally, and this book, just don't allow for that. And it sullies the reputation of the franchise. And you will notice Peter Jackson has not helmed a fictional film since then. I think this movie broke him, and this experience broke him, and that's a shame. I would like to see him return to long-form dramatic filmmaking, because he's really insanely gifted with it. But yeah, I don't hate this movie. I really like the song at the end performed by Billy Boyd. There's some neat stuff going on dramatically, some interesting visuals, especially with relation to the dragon sickness. And the build to the final battle, I think, is made more interesting in the fallout of the men of Lake Town, as well as the place of the elf and dwarf rivalries is all adequately built. But yeah, this isn't great. It gets the softest of soft passes with a very soft 3 out of 4 stars from me. And some point in the near future, I plan to look back at The Lord of the Rings and give you my thoughts on each of those films, which I plan to watch with my daughter, who is really interested in watching them. So we'll have that coming forward to look forward to sometime in the near future. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.